In a world where information seems to travel at the speed of light and traffic at a snail's pace, where the agenda of those at the helm doesn't always reflect the pressures on the streets where the rubber hits the road, where there's queue of issues needing to be interrogated in the name of speaking truth to power.
Welcome to a place at the table,
where we set the agenda,
table the issues that matter to you,
and invite you to take a seat at the table.
Welcome. I'm back at the table and still on the money trail. Today, I'll be weighing into the Rolls-Royce debate.
What's new, Yinka? Welcome back. I'll be speaking on breakfast and offering a veteran's guide on how to chop it like a champion.
breakfast. It don't cast, last. Now everybody go chop breakfast. Zumah. I'm taking on the elephant in the room. I'll be reminiscing on Nigeria at 64.
Kate, we reminisce and we keep fighting. I'm warning, don't fall victim to the mind game.
These are the days of vigilance indeed. Zuma spoke of breakfast. Kate is even singing it. Food is ready. Time to feed our minds. Like many, I read on social media the news of the luxury car gifted to an accomplished Nigerian, Bishop Oyedepo, on his 70th birthday. I read comments questioning the morality of the gifts at such inauspicious times. In my view, we are missing the point. Like Martin Luther King Jr. said, morality cannot be legislated, but behavior can be regulated. There's nothing wrong with pastors gifting the bishop a car they say is worth 1.5 billion. But if they can afford it, they're within their rights to give it to whoever they deem worthy. There's also nothing wrong with the bishop accepting it. The focus, however, must be on the potential tax liability and or the corporate governance for the entities involved. The question we must ask is, who is the giver? The pastors, as reported in the news, or the non-profit they head? If the gifts are in their individual capacity, then we will expect the tax authorities to review their tax returns to see if there's a need to conduct a tax audit to establish if there's a tax liability in this case. If the gifts are on account of the non-profit they head, then there's reason to assess whether spending the income of a tax-exempt entity on such a luxury item violates provisions of Section 838, 1A and B of the Companies and Island Matters Act, which states that the income and property of a body or association shall be applied solely towards the promotion of the objects of the body as set out in its constitution, and no portion from it shall be paid or transferred directly or indirectly by way of dividend, bonus, or otherwise by way of profit. Such contravention requires a refund or the suspension of the Board of Trustees if the Commission considers the action a misconduct worthy of the protection of the assets of the organization for public interest. These are the questions we should be asking. We must strive to raise the bar when it comes to accountability, transparency, compliance, and corporate governance for all entities, whether they are public, private, non-profit, or individuals. I personally pledge to continue drawing attention to these issues, especially as it relates to faith-based organizations.
Yinka and the church. Yinka and pastors.
Yinka and money.
Yinka and money
And
being
tax.
spent, being accountable in churches. They will soon say you're a hater, you hate religious bodies. But these words you've spoken, accountability, transparency, compliance of corporate entities, faith-based organizations, and it should start from the church. You know, we preach about, as a Christian, the preaching is that you should be as pious as Christ himself is. And he was open about everything. But somehow, church is shrouded in mystery by pastors who are the God of men on earth. So people feel they're untouchable. I kind of agree with you that they should be taxed. I mean, like, if you're an NGO, it's okay, but are you an NGO? No, I'm just asking a rhetorical question. Are they NGOs?
Yeah, they're registered under.
Okay, so there should be some kind of transparency, opening of the books, like you've always said in the past. But people will always make an exception for the things that benefit them, the people that rock their boats, for lack of a better word. So that is the quagmire in which we have found ourselves. Because religion is the opium of the masses, the people feel, don't touch, don't touch, don't talk, don't look, don't question. But it's high time we open our eyes to see that if indeed the churches are preaching to the people and bringing in the people together so that they can be better citizens, it should start from the church.
Okay, so the interesting thing here is that when you are registering your non-profit, you have to provide a constitution. In the constitution, there's the object. The object is the objective you want to achieve. So for faith-based organization, typically they will say their object is they want to feed the poor, they want to educate people on religion, they want to take care of widows. There's nothing in the object that says I'm going to buy a luxury car for somebody. That's something that comes up that I think that needs to be investigated.
I need to come in here. Yinka, you need to let churches breathe and stop. Stop stepping on pastors' legs. Let them breathe. I would like to ask: is there a gifts and souvenir line item in the church's budget?
Sorry?
And gifts and souvenir line item in the church's budget?
Well, I think every church
they have provisions.
Every church should have provisions for that.
And is it just one church that made this purchase, or a collective?
No. I mean, the issue here is that we don't even know if the gift was in the individual capacities of the pastor, because we understand that it was gifted by pastors. These are pastors who felt like, okay, it's impacted their ministry, it's their father and all that.
So two of them came together and brought out.
No. There are two. What we understand is that there are two separate gifts. Two different gifts of the same.
What? Two different roles, right?
Yes.
Oh my God! Okay, no, we need to step on the neck. No.
So, thank you, Yinka.
So I was thinking that probably a group of churches came together to get their spiritual leader a gift. That is not very much out of place. But two individual people gifting someone a gift worth 1.5 million, and they are people that are served as custodian of a non-profit. It is suspect. Because again, is it from the church? Is it from you as an individual? If it is from you as an individual, what are your tax returns? But I also need to point out that spirituality is a funny thing in Africa. You see people who have just one car that they will sow their one car as a seed. They will sow.
I beg to differ. You mean religion, not spirituality. That is religion, not spirituality.
You see people sell their properties, in fact, take their partners' properties to sow seed in churches. So beyond, it's important for the regulatory authorities to look at where is this coming from and see if they can afford to, and if it's also from the church, in what capacity? Is the church in a position to make that donation? I think that's all for
Aisha.
Okay, in my own case, by the way, it's not two individuals coming to buy one limousine. There are two limousines. We're talking about 3 billion
I feel like
now.
I'm in the wrong business, but conversation
honestly,
for another day.
So I saw that whole thing happening, and somehow I just didn't engage. Mentally, physically, whatever. I wasn't even bothered. I just moved on. I saw it. I'm like, okay, it's Nigeria. But it's so interesting, the points that Yinka has raised. And I totally agree with you. These are things that need to be checked. I saw one of the pastors was actually boasting, and he was saying that, on his way back, people were sowing seeds into even the pilot of the plane he was going to travel back came down to come and thank him and sow the seed. It's just this mind game that is always played on Nigeria. Yes. Religion has been weaponized. If really, as a nation, sometimes I just feel they should ban religion for some years and say, just do it in your house. Do it privately. Everybody, whether you are Muslim, nobody wants to know. Keep it somewhere and let's focus. Because it's been used.
I think did China do that? Which country did that?
Way.
I think it was Rwanda.
Rwanda, yeah.
I'm just like, sometimes I just feel we need to get to that place. So he said he had gotten all of this thing. But go ahead. You want to say something?
I would like to ask, right, the seed that has been sown, is it to the church or to the pastor?
To the pastor.
So he was saying to him, as far as it's concerned, it's like when they say when you give, you get more. So he's saying that on his way, so that he wasn't, the way he spoke, it wasn't as if to the church.
It was
like
to him personally.
Yeah, personally. And even the gifts, they didn't talk as if it was the church that gave it. They were like, it's their personal thing. And this is where this whole thing comes in. FIRS, what are you doing?
That's why people don't believe in tithing anymore.
I mean,
they don't like tithing. They don't like tithing. They don't like giving offering because they'll use it and buy car.
In our own case, as Muslims, right, we do zakah.
Zakat, yeah.
So our own, in the case of zakah,
what does that mean?
Zakah is like tax.
Similar to...
It's similar. It's like, so it's like 1/40 of your wealth. If we're talking of money that you've kept for a year. Yes, it is.
No, but it is not on income. It is on savings.
Yes.
On investment.
It's not on your income. So
you give it to the...
So you give it, for example, if I have, I have money now that I have kept for a year. So I need to give 1/40 of it. It's one in different, there's the one for grain, animals, and all of that. If I'm doing business, I'll check my business and the value and then give 1/40.
Every year?
Yeah, every year. That you give 1/40.
What if you have no savings?
No, you're not.
No, then you're not. You don't. There's a place you have to read. It's not that any money you earn, the way tithing goes.
Yeah.
But the thing for me is that if it was that we're supposed to be giving it to our malams, churches would have been competing with mosques. You see them, everybody would have talked to malam.
So who do they give it to?
There are some nice group of people that you're supposed to give, the poor, the needy, those in there. So they're counted. So you could do it yourself. There are some who give it to some to do better. It's not as if you give it to it. How do I put it? And then the interesting thing, let me just digress a little bit, because Islam is so technical. It's knowledge based. It's not this anointment. So I tell people it's not about anointing. You don't have to have any spirituality special thing. For example, in the case of zakah, a wife can give her husband zakah if he's needy. The wife is richer, but a husband cannot give his wife zakah because what he owes, she also owes it. He's responsible for her. So these are some of the dynamics. But just to come back to this whole thing is to say, yes, like what you said, he has given 1 point something below. Fine. How much is he paying in tax? It's in his own right to give whatever he wants to give, however he wants to give. Nobody has a right to question it. For me, that's why I wasn't even emotionally involved. If it's your money, you got it. It's your own money. If it was a public servant that had done that, we will all come out and say, Oga, are you okay? You will not allow that person to breathe. But in this case, but then to go back and say, how much did he pay in taxes? Because that's what they're supposed to be doing. We have a lot of people who are getting so much money, but they're not paying the taxes that they're required, to pay. And then some people, especially those civil servants and all of that, they are the ones that get taxed as soon as they're earning their money, it keeps going. So, and then if it comes back to, if it's a church, if they're saying it's a church, what they used it for, is it what they're supposed to use it for? Otherwise, things need to be done. There's nothing like anointing, this is what I said. Even in prison, people's souls need to be saved. So if you are a pastor or a malam, you've done something wrong, you can go to prison and go and save souls there. God will accept those souls. It's not only outside while you are writing and enjoying. Exactly.
Before I let Yinka round, I was just going to say to Aisha that there's some aspects, a few aspects of the Muslim religion that I love. This zakah bit, amazing, really, really. And then, of course, the burial part.
There are a lot.
See, that's the topic for another day. I love it. What are you wasting time for building a house? You do actually, just like dust to dust. Sorry, Yinka, over to you.
Okay, so I want to do an add-on to the zakat conversation. It's also payable on jewelry. Maybe you have, so you're wearing this earring, you've had it for years, you have to pay zakat on it because it's considered an asset also.
If we don't ask the right questions, we can't arrive at the right conclusions.
Indeed, Yinka. Please don't stop pressing on the next.
See, I'll change your team.
However, we need to be in the right frame of mind to identify what those right questions would be. it don't cast, last. Now everybody go chop breakfast. A wise man, Burna Boy, in 2022 said this. Breakfast is a meal we all know too well, but in Nigeria, chopping breakfast is another way of saying heartbroken. And as a universal meal, it could touch everybody at the end of the day, either from an intimate partner, friendship, or work relationship. Yet, no matter where the heartbreak comes from, one thing unites all of them: disappointment and that gut punch sense of loss. It's normal to feel down. It's normal to feel confused or even betrayed. And it's a sign that you've invested emotionally in a situation that did not work out. But you do not have to wallow in it or let it consume you. You can learn and grow from it by acknowledging the loss and taking time to mourn what's gone, whether it's a relationship, friendship, or a job. Ignoring the pain doesn't help. It just makes it more difficult to move forward. By reflecting on your role in the breakdown and taking responsibility for it without blaming yourself. Could you have communicated better? Maybe you missed a red flag or stayed too long in a toxic environment. By learning from it, every breakfast comes with lessons. What did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about others? What did you learn about what you want in future relationship or work environment or friendship? By not making it your identity, it is what happened to you, not who you are. You were not defined by a lost job or broken relationship. You were not a failure. You're growing and you are evolving. The fact that one chapter has ended doesn't mean you have ended. New relationships will come, new friendships will blossom, and yes, there will be new jobs. So it is important to look ahead and embrace the future with hope and resilience. Chopping breakfast doesn't mean you have to walk around with a broken heart on display. It's part of life, it's part of growth, and part of what makes you you. Looking forward to other panelists' biggest breakfast experience and their learnings from it.
Zumah.
Yinka, go.
Why? It looks as if you're targeting me.
I know. You are the only man here, so.
You know,
did you give breakfast or
did you receive breakfast?
No, I didn't. I might have given breakfast.
You, a true Yoruba man.
You know, it's like
Yoruba Divo. I didn't finish it. I said Yoruba Divo.
I might have, but I also received breakfast.
Good. It's a universal meal. We are all going to receive
it. So it's fair, Okay. So my experience, was in terms of my career. When I finished my NYSC, I didn't have to wait for work. I mean, I got a job just about a month or two after, and I had this very interesting 2 years of fantastic experience. I had this fantastic boss, and it was exposing me into many things, and I was growing in my career. And in 2 years, I was running the south/eastern region of an entire multinational company.
Wow.
And I was in my mid to late 20s.
Wow.
So in fact, I got featured in a TV program as the youngest manager. So I was like, so I was feeling it. I was really feeling it. I was young, I was single, I was available. So it was a fantastic experience, and you can imagine for a 20-year-old.
The world was your oyster. Yes.
It was like it couldn't get better. I mean, I had friends who were still struggling to get a job, and I was already like...
You couldn't relate.
I already had like 2 cars. One personal, one official. And, it was like I was feeling cool. I was balling. I was balling. Yeah.
You don't blow.
You don't blow. He wasn't waiting to blow. You don't blow.
I was just having a ball. I lived in a nice part of town. When I got married, it's like boy. I was having it until breakfast landed. The breakfast landed was a case of there was a management change in the organization I was in, and suddenly came in a new management that just didn't feel me. And they woke up one morning and they said that, we don't need your office again.
Oh.
And they shut it down.
Whoa.
What?
So, and I went from 100 to 0. Oh. I had to relocate because I was in Lagos. I was in south of Nigeria, so I had to relocate to Lagos, and I went. At that time, I was already married. Okay, my wife was about 6 months pregnant, and we had to relocate to Lagos, and I had to start all over again. You know, I had to move into a room, my brother's residence. You know, and when my wife gave birth, the 3 of us started staying in that one room. And I remember coming from work one day. This time around, I was in Lagos. You got another job? You know, yeah, no. I mean, it was the same job, but I was just relocated to Lagos, but in a lower position. And so I took it because, you know, I didn't have any other thing I had to do, you know, so I just needed to get myself going. And I remember coming from work one day, and I just broke down with my wife because I was just crying. And she just said, "Don't worry, it'll be fine. Don't worry, it'll be fine." You know, and all that. And so that's a long time ago. Going back now, many years thereafter, of course, I'm not there again. We've walked away from that. Things improved, and you know, we were able to build up. And so the message to people out there is that, look, life happens. Things happen. Things can happen to you. You can be rejected. But it doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. Okay, so don't stop believing. Don't stop working. Don't stop studying. Don't stop doing the things that you should do. Don't just stay down. Pick yourself up.
I love that.
And say, I'm going to make something of my life. So that's my story.
Don't stay down.
For sharing.
Yeah, don't stay down. I agree totally. Don't stay down. Pick yourself up, because nobody's going to pick you up, actually. The truth is, if they help you up and you refuse to stay down, they'll leave you down there. And it's left for you to dust up yourself and say, I'm going to move on. But there was something you said, taking time to mourn. I doubt that some people do that, because that's why in relationships you have a rebound. You have people going into another relationship so quickly just to deal with the pain of the hurt of the last one. And then that is not them, that is somebody else. And then you find out that people shy away from spending time with themselves for introspection. Who are you? Could you check and see what you did wrong in the other one? Or just spend time with yourself and evaluate your worth and make changes and say, okay, this is my me time. I don't know why people don't like looking in the mirror. Me, I talk to myself, and I ain't crazy. I talk to myself, I say things to myself, I could have done better. And I think a lot more people need to do that, so that going forward, you will, you know, go in with something worthwhile for you. And if it's not on the table, it's a deal breaker. And then you can just spend time with yourself until you find the right person. I believe there's a right person out there for everyone. And relationships, situationships shouldn't, if it ends, it's not the end of the world. Because, like I always say, as long as the sun will shine in the morning, a new day will come. You can keep hoping.
There's some people that have gone through some terrible experience.
I've gone through terrible experiences, trust me.
Yeah.
See, I've had a fire, 2015. June 25th, 2015, everything gone. Lost in the fire. If you Google it, you'll still see. This is how I stood. And I wanted to commit suicide. I wanted to just, but then something just said, I just said to God, it's you that will receive shame, because you're my father. It's better you sort this thing out. And look at me now. Just you know, it's the darkest. They say it's darkest before dawn, Abby. It's just the ability to trust in your Creator, what you believe in, and hold on for the morning. And that morning doesn't literally mean the next day.
Oh, breakfast. So I chop my breakfast, so there's one that I chop, but most times, I don't even care. I'll just move on. There's one breakfast I chop. Let me talk to Uche Daniel. When secondary school, because yes now. So you know, for me, I'm this crazy person. I've always been the chaser. I've never waited for anybody to come and be the one to know. So I wrote to him that, okay, you know, I think we're from 5 or something. I wrote a letter to him, wanted him to be my boyfriend and stuff like that. And then he replied me, and everybody in the class read it before me.
What?
Yes.
See, Uche Daniel.
And he was like, oh no, he wasn't ready for a relationship. Anyway, that has always been my...
I won't forget.
But for me, in my own case, I think the biggest breakfast in life I got was when I was maybe probably 10, 11. So my parents, my father took me to school in this Peugeot 504 station wagon filled with provision. Everything. I'm the first child, so a bit very close with my dad. I mean, we argue a lot, we do things a lot. And I was in a boarding school. They literally would even bring water and travel maybe like an hour to just bring water for me because there wasn't water in school. Wow. And midway, my parents came to pick me up because I had written to go to another school to change my school. And my mom asked me whether I had the money that was used, my pocket money, whether it was still remaining. That was such a strange question. Okay. In the meantime, a senior had asked me to borrow her, had given it to her, I didn't have, so I just said, oh, it's in school. My father had lost everything. Oh, so I went from a child who, a whole provision, everything. I mean, think about it. My mom used to say,
she was asking for that money so
that they could spend it at home.
Wow,
and then they came to pick me nothing, where we could go days without eating food. So from that age, I have no attachment to anything, even life itself. So I always feel anything can go. My life can go. I can wake up one day and something like, I might not even have kids. So that's how I've always lived. There was a time my brother asked me, why is it that you never behave as if you have money or anything? I'm like, I saw my dad lose everything within the twinkle. Yes. So it changed me, for life. Yes. So I'm always like that going and stuff like that. In terms of relationship, not as much, because I walk away. When I see anything that it's not working, no.
So you served the people.
I'm walking away. I wake in the morning, I'm like, no. Because for me, I have that relationship with myself. I love myself. If you're not adding to it, I will just, so that has always been my life. But in terms of businesses, I would say a lot. 2012, December 12, 2012, I wrote a letter to my manufacturer in China. I said, stop all production. I was selling tomato paste. Everything was crazy. And I was losing everything. I had lots of containers at the port. Right now, if I had known, I would have just left the containers there to rot. I would clear a container, let me say, this tomato paste, tin tomatoes, 70 grams. Clearing it in Lagos as of that time was like, cost maybe sometimes 950 to 1,030 naira, depending. And I would take it to Kano and I was selling it for like 600. Okay. I was losing money like mad. Yes. So I was selling that. I didn't even know my 39th birthday was my 30th until years later when I was looking at the email and I saw it. And it was almost crazy. Literally, everything was going. You're selling, and I was owing my manufacturer in China. Why were you selling at a loss? Because that was the price. The price had crashed. The market had, so this is what was happening. And that's just for me, sometimes I'm so angry when people don't understand what corruption does. There was a lot of money, and people, when they want to clean their money, they use fast-moving goods. So you're buying something, so somebody who wants to just clean his money laundry, we come and sell it at the price you're buying it there. And then you as a business, you're losing everything. It got to a place, what I said to myself one day was that, look, Aisha, you came from someone, you grew up not having breakfast, going to school without breakfast, coming back, you were not expecting lunch. So today you can lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. You've made it. At least for you to be able to be losing it. So for me, that's just the way I've gone. And if all my business failure, and sometimes people think things don't happen to you because you take them in. I always say to myself, I've lost this one, I didn't die. If I lose this one again, I will not die. We'll continue, and it goes on like that. And I think it's very important for people to just understand taking responsibility. There are places where you know you're the one that did A, B, C, D. And when you take that responsibility, it makes it easier for you to continue to go. I think whether it's business, it's relationship, you have to take your own responsibility. To quickly digress, there was a guy who used to sell water. I don't know whether that went viral, and then they opened a business for him and everything. And then now he's saying that, spiritual. No, it's not spirituality.
I actually feel sane because that's my brand. And I was that's my brand. And I was one of those who received him when he was brought to Lagos, and we were really rooting for him. I remember speaking to him and telling him that, please do not let this fail. You know, a lot has been thrust on you, and you need to, be accountable for it. But look at it.
But failure is normal. Like in business. No, wait. So this is where the problem is. He's not taking responsibility. If he accepts that it's his problem, this thing. I sell water. I'm a distributor for another brand. I'm not going to mention the name of the brand. You understand? in a carton, we make like 300.
I saw your post. I saw your post.
And for that's even something, the profit margin is high. Yeah. There are some things you sell for 10,000 or 9,000, you're only making 15 naira. Yes. So if you spend 3,000, it's what you've done, your gross profit from 10 cases. If you spend 30,000, it's your gross profit for 100 cases. How long does it take you to sell 100? People don't understand. But in fast-moving goods, we have a lot of money. You have millions and millions, hundreds of millions, but the profit is very tiny. So he hasn't taken responsibility.
No,
and
he was given everything.
To be eating
he
that
was
breakfast.
given everything. Everything.
We've all been there. So we may as well learn from our joint experiences. Right, Kate?
I hear you, Zumah. Why then are we not able to put heads and hearts together at 64 years old? And I'm talking about Nigeria, my dear country. Another Independence Day has come and gone. Nigeria is 64 years old. Can we say truthfully that we're happy where we are? I think not. October 1st, 2024 was just another holiday for people who are at a loss, a huge loss as to the way forward. Will there come a day we will truly celebrate wholeheartedly? How many of us still remember that song? I wonder if you remember it. That was released when we were 25 years old. It goes this way. Nigeria is 25. The odds we did survive. Arise, salute the nation. Come join the celebration. A people united can never fall. The sun will shine and the rain will fall on our land, vast and mighty, richly blessed by the Almighty. We can't even doubt that we are richly blessed by the Almighty. This does not, however, ring true at the moment, and we all know it's true. Our unity is threatened, and despite the natural resources we are blessed with, we're yet to adorn the apparel befitting of our status. And no, I'm not talking about national fabric. The rich get richer, the poor are dying, the middle class totally obliterated. Indeed, we do pay lip service to the much-touted fight against corruption. Our moral compass and sense of citizenship is fractured. For even the lawmakers have abandoned their assignments and instead gathered to investigate mundane issues. Audio, or should I say social media dismissals, are the order of the day. No consequences whatsoever for wrongdoing. Like Zumah will always say,
the law without consequences
is a suggestion. Thank you. Who is to blame? Who do I point the accusing finger at? You watching me or me reading out to you? I pointed at everyone who has sat back and done nothing when this rot slowly crept on us. My dear friend and colleague Chidi Mokeme tweeted on October 1st, I congratulate every Nigerian who, in spite of the cluelessness of government, continues to independently provide their own security, healthcare, electricity, education, welfare, food, even if na 010. Now you be your own government. Charity begins at home. And we don't take ourselves seriously and turn this nation around for good, no one. Absolutely no one will, and definitely not the others in other countries. Hopefully, it won't take another 64 years. Aisha, your breathing is deep.
It's deep because I don't even know what to say. So there was Independence Day. I didn't even know,
and
honestly.
They say so. It was lackluster, but please,
I couldn't even relate. I couldn't connect with Nigeria. It was just another day for me. You did mention something, a people united can never fall. And then you said our unity is threatened. But that's exactly why it's threatened, because they want us down. They want us to fall. And as long as Nigerians are not united, there are a few people who are able to capture the nation and do whatever they want to do with the country. We must understand the fact that Nigeria is an enterprise that is owned by a few people, and they're just doing, and they don't even love themselves, because if they love themselves, they will be in a place where they want everything to work, and they will even be able to have more. But with the scarcity mentality, mindset that they have, they just think they will have to grab, and take away from everyone for them to be, to be able to have. And it's really sad where we are right now. And for me, religion has really damaged us in Nigeria. It's been used, it's been weaponized against the people so much and used to keep the people down. And you see this, it's like I mentioned the other day, and I'll repeat it again. You know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, Nigerians are angry. And then Fridays and Sundays, they get their cool age.
She said
they get their cool age.
From the mosque and the church.
On Saturday, from the mosque and churches. On Saturday, they do their own, and they have just for. On Monday, you know, that the remnant of that cool age, you see that they think he can go, and then Tuesday, they start all over again. And as long as we have this mentality where you're being told, sow seed, it will happen. I hate those prayers. I'm sorry. But
please
whether
don't
from
apologize.
The Muslim part or this thing, the person is sitting there, you will do this. I'm like, what? I'm always asking, what work did you do?
Wait, you didn't see the video of the people that raised their phones for alerts to come from the sky?
No.
Really?
Oh, I'll find it for you. Okay, they were at a convention.
Oh.
Miracle money.
Yeah, miracle.
I think it is illiteracy, because if you have a minimal level of education, you will know that is not possible.
But that's what the cool aid that they give you, that they say, if you say you don't believe that, it's because you don't, it's not happening to you because you don't believe. It's a big problem we have. Okay, somebody is sitting there, like, even you scrolling down Twitter. Oh, a big thing will happen to you today. Say amen to it. Or if you don't say, pass it to 5 people. If you don't pass it to 5, are you kidding me? What did I do to get a big thing? Even in a big thing, to come here, I will not accept it because I haven't done anything. What work did you do to get that big thing? We've gotten to that place now, so everybody is waiting. It's okay for politicians to do anyhow with the money because, it's their turn. You too, you're waiting for your own big thing. And at the end of the day, people are sending you messages. Someone would say to you, someone called me, his wife is sick. I said, I'll get back to you. In less than 12 hours, you're calling me to tell me that, I said, if he calls his politician, the people who are serving him in that manner, they would do the work. But they now put every responsibility on citizens. And I think also, we are also to blame because we keep subsidizing the failure of government. Yep. So people no longer understand relationship between governance and their lives, that the country is supposed to do certain things for them. They think it's their fellow citizens that should do it.
Zumah.
Nigeria at 64. Okay, I saw tweets about it online, but outside that, nothing indicated that anything happened.
That the people were independent.
That the people
or
are
the nation.
Independent. Like there was this gloominess.
Yes, yes, gloom.
The country is hard. It is tough. Everybody is in pain, irrespective of your social strata. I have a friend who does not put on the AC in their house before because they said they don't like moving from a warm room to cold room. They want everywhere cold. I went to their house, like, the AC is off. Oh, they said yes.
They've been bandited.
I'm like, interesting. You don't touch everybody.
Yes.
And where we are now, it has touched them. The only thing uniting us is the pain we are all feeling.
Aisha spoke
That's the only thing.
Last week.
How do we get it right? When do we get it right? And why did it get it wrong? Those are the questions we need to ask ourselves. Because if we keep being in the same loop, we're just going to keep counting years without moving forward. And it's not just enough to count years. We need to, I listened to the president's speech and it was quite underwhelming. And the fact that you're saying they're putting together a youth confab.
You see that?
And I'm like, okay, wait, what is going on here? We want to have a jamboree. Okay, so we are not having a jamboree. You want to put you together for, is it 90 days or
30 days?
30 days for them to do what? All the confabs that we've had, which of them has been implemented?
None.
So I just feel like it's something, doing things just because, not because they really want to do something. Because people are shouting, they're loud on social media, let's give them something to do. Like,
it's okay, is it?
I don't know. The question is, make it make sense. But we all can keep talking. We all have to take responsibility and take action towards how do we make 65 better for Nigeria.
People have been taking action, Zumah. People, individuals and NGOs, people personally, but I'll let Yinka speak.
You know, I like to frame myself as a patriot. And I know that everybody here is
Me
one.
too.
I like to always, on my X profile, you see proudly Nigerian. You know, and I'm unapologetic about it. And I know that, I always say that when you see two Nigerians anywhere in the world talking, you can be sure that the conversation will be about Nigeria. And it will be about the issues about Nigeria. Because even when you jump out of this country, This country never really gets to jackpot.
The country doesn't jackpot of you.
So you always, feel that, and every Nigerian feels, and I feel it. To be honest, I feel it a lot, and I feel the frustration, in people. Nigerians have now become the social net, safety net for other Nigerians. It's not the government again. You are the safety net for your family. You are the safety net for your neighbor. You are the safety net for this. And like you said, when I look at my phone sometimes and I see all the messages that I'm getting from X, Y, Z, you don't even know which one is true, which one is not true.
Yes,
you just know that everybody seems to be needing something, and then you ask yourself, even me.
I don't chop.
Who will I send my message to? Who will I send
my own to? That says that I also need something to be done. So we can rehash all the issues together about Nigeria. We can go into the leadership, how we've had rounds and rounds and rounds of failure of leadership, of people to take up the reins of leadership, forget about themselves, about what they can get, and actually think about what is good for the people. We can talk about, the issue of corruption. We can, identify different things that have been done at different times. And the question for me is, where is the way out?
That's the question.
We will keep going. I didn't watch the president's
I didn't see that.
I didn't read it.
I didn't read, I didn't watch, I didn't listen.
To be honest with you, I read the first and I went to the last because that's basically.
I only saw ways and means.
So, and then I read highlights of it. So, okay, he said this, he said this. And then when I saw the
youth conference,
and I just, my mind, I'm old enough to have seen different constitutional conferences that we had. Confabs or confabs.
That ended in.
And I know they are jamborees.
Sealed.
And so the first thing that came to my mind is another jamboree, okay?
For people,
this is to placate.
Whatever. And I felt, okay, fine. I'm cynical, probably to turn out to be different.
This will be different. Yeah, really patriotic.
But the thing is, I always like to see the cup half full. So, but the thing here is this. I've asked myself, if I don't want to fall into this whole circle,
the whirlpool keeps turning,
and all that, where is the way out? What do we do? Now, I recognize that Nigeria is an experiment. And I always keep saying, Nigeria is not the perfect structure. You have different peoples coming together to form the biggest black nation on the earth.
We're not the only country that have different people come together, Yinka, but I'll let you finish.
But there is no unifying
Nigeria is a unique experiment of, if this can work, the potential of what we can achieve is so great. And so the issue here is, what number of versions or iterations of experiment do you need to have to get to that point where you now say, yes, we've got the perfect mix of it.
PMF.
So that's the big question for us as a nation, because at some point, if this experiment doesn't work, then we're going to have to look at what's the plan B.
Oh,
and I think that we need to be bold enough to have that conversation. The problem when people say, oh, we should not talk about the Nigeria's disunity in itself. I believe in Nigeria's unity, absolutely. But I don't think that people should be scared to talk about, what is over there.
Yeah.
If we can find a confederacy that can allow us to be able to ensure that the maximum capacity of the Nigerian nation is achieved, then we should have the boldness. We should have the boldness to actually have a constitution that when it says we the people,
it is really we the people.
It's actually we the people that have crafted that constitution, and not a few of elites that gather themselves together, whether they are military or they are civilians, that gather together and wrote the constitution and say, okay, this is your constitution, you have to go. We need that courage, and I think that the government that is sincere about that actually really says, I'm not here to protect myself, because I always see that the very first order of business for most government in Nigeria is protecting themselves, not about any other thing. But the government that comes into saying, I'm not caring about the next election, I'm not caring about protecting myself, I want to be able to bequeath to this nation a constitution that is truly generic and truly ours. I think that is the first step we need to take.
I would want the viewers at home to be a part of this conversation. We prefer solutions. I mean, we don't have all the answers, but it's so important that we think about our nation seriously. I don't mean to be a prophet of doom and gloom all the time. I think I'll find a chariot topic to talk about next time. But time is not a luxury we have. The chickens are already here to roost. While the rest of the world is moving at the speed of light, we're still in the dark ages. I submit.
Kate, when it comes to Nigeria, you don't have to be a prophet to read the writing on the wall. Let me speak plainly. Make no mistake. If oppression begins in the mind, so too there's tenacity and the fight back spirit. It was Stephen Biko that said, the greatest weapon of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. And he was right. What better way to control the people than by the people willingly giving up of their powers by believing they can't? I'm big on patterns, and no matter how much things are disguised, there is always a pattern that emerges. You might have noticed how in the last few months there were a flurry of online attacks on individuals who usually are voices for the people or stand for the people. It was not accidental, it was orchestrated. The attacks intensified in the last days of September as citizens planned to come out once again and protest in the month of October. These attacks came with allegations of embezzlement or some monetary benefits gotten by these individuals. There were statements like, these ones are no different from those whom they are making demand on. Or you hear things like, they have no right to hold government accountable. They will even do worse than those in government. And the most comical of them all was a statement by an APC member and supporter of Tinubu who said, those that will fix Nigerians' problems are not yet born. All of these are geared to achieve one thing, and that is for you to give up on Nigeria and believe a new Nigeria is impossible. When you do so, then they have won and can do whatever they want to do unchallenged. My fellow citizens, a new Nigeria is possible. I want you from now on to only focus on your effort towards a better Nigeria. Assume that the solution to Nigerians' problem lies in your hands and make a solemn vow to not give up on Nigeria until you bring forth that solution. Most importantly, do not forget that nation building needs tenacity, perseverance, and a can-do spirit. If the people destroying Nigeria have not given up in 64 years of independence, you also have no business giving up. Good must be more tenacious than evil. What do you think, my people?
I love the advocacy. I like the fact that it's more about taking ownership of your thoughts. And I would like to do an add-on to it. It is important to protect our mind, the kind of media we consume, as it inspires the actions that defines our reality. A lot of people don't understand this. There are certain words that I have muted. Like Yinka, I'm a very patriotic and very optimistic Nigerian. And when people say, oh, it's not possible to solve this, yes, it is possible. And we are going to solve it. And we are going to do it in my time. So you're saying the people who will solve Nigerian problems are not yet born. No. No. They are born. We are born. We are going to solve it. And we are not going to stop till we get it right.
I saw what you were referring to on the X app. You know, that place is a whole country on its own, you know. I suspect it was like a mind game, actually. It is no coincidence, because I don't believe in coincidences, that it started sometime in September, we're in October, where there will be remembrance of 2020. Yeah. So it's to put doubt, you know, in people's minds about the authenticity and the veracity of the people who actually put themselves out there to solve a problem. If these individuals did not put pressure on the government about this panel, it would never have happened. Nothing would have happened, and it would have been swept away. By the way, happy birthday, JJ. I don't know if you'll see this. He tweeted something. He said, let them taunt you. Let them insult you. Let them come at you. Whatever they do, don't let them break you. don't let them break you, because once you are broken, they have won over you.
Yeah.
If you are broken, you are finished. If you're a broken man, I don't know how you're going to want to put the pieces together again. It's going to be a long and arduous task. So like you said, individual, focus-minded, contribute your bit to this nation, and hopefully it will coalesce. You know, your mind in Nigeria, your mind has to be surrounded by steel plates.
Yeah, true.
Steel, what's the biggest? It's not platinum. What's the strongest steel? No, aluminum is down there. Titanium. No, mind. It's so important. See, don't laugh. It's so important because this country, you know, you go outside, you come back, you travel, you just get back. How do you feel? You feel down. While he was out there, he was enjoying wearing cap. When he entered here, he said, welcome to Nigeria. There's this air. There's this air. Back to where you were. And you need a lot of joy on your inside. A lot of knowledge of who you are and what you are contributing to this country to be able to weather whatever is thrown at you.
It's exhausting.
It is.
It's exhausting.
Sorry, Yinka, I told you this last week when I told you that people were hungry, they are tired of, you said no, they cannot be tired. Yinka, over to you.
It's exhausting. And, you know, like you said, what every Nigerian, successful Nigerian has done is to find a way to numb that part of you that just say, this is not normal. This really is not normal. Okay? I mean, last week, we've heard about the case of somebody that went to prison that didn't go to prison.
Okay, you mean the he-she?
Whatever. You know, and
the he-she with a bomb. The secret has come with that.
You know, and the world is not waiting for us.
It's not.
You know,
not.
The world is not waiting.
Wait. These are going to Mars.
This idea that
do we have lights?
This idea that we're 64, that okay, so America is at over 200 or something years, we will get there.
We should wait till we're 200 years.
We don't have the luxury of time. And if there's anything that we need to do now. And I like the way you phrase it, Aisha. A new Nigeria is possible.
Yes. In our time.
In our time. In my lifetime, it's possible.
Yeah.
And he said, don't give up on Nigeria. The reality is that a lot of people have actually given up.
Yeah, that's it.
Mentally checked out.
And one way I would tell you why we've given up is that the store of value of Nigerian wealth today is $1, not the naira.
Yeah.
True.
Okay? And that's why the naira will always be in problem, because today the average Nigerian stores their wealth or their savings or whatever in USD, because they know that they don't believe in Nigeria, in Nigerian currency. So we need a national reawakening of Nigerians to understand that if this country is going to succeed, then every Nigerian has to be mobilized. And I use that word, mobilized, with a vision and an agenda. But the question is, what pictures do you see every day?
What assails your vision?
What pictures do you see? My pastor, Pastor Sam Adeyemi, usually does this thing on every October 1. I don't know whether we did it this year, but every Independence Day, he will show pictures. It's like not real pictures, but generated pictures of how Nigeria will,
what is possible.
What's possible. And then it will get the whole church excited because we're seeing,
when they go outside.
Yes,
Sorry.
The idea there is put the pictures in the minds of people of what the school looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw this video recently of this guy in the north that renovated the school.
Yeah.
That is how a school should look like.
Yeah.
Okay, what it means to go to a market. All right. I mean, the average experience of a Nigerian young person is probably the market at my 12 or whatever. And then when you see the experience there, you wonder that is how a market looks like. or what it means to go to a university. So we need to start putting the image of the average Nigerian, what this Nigeria looks like. And maybe we'll begin to activate that ability in us, that creative ability in us, to make things happen. And like you concluded, and I will also emphasize on that, if the people destroying Nigeria have not given up after 64 years,
we also shouldn't.
Then we should not give up.
We should not.
Absolutely, we should not give up. Just to add that to the fact that I always hear people tell me that, oh, Nigeria cannot work. It will never work in our lifetime. And that's why I think around 2016, as I said, Nigeria must work.
It has to.
In our lifetime. While we are here, we'll be the one to do it, not somebody else that will come and do it. And that thing where you talked about not allowing yourself to be broken, it just reminded me of my childhood. That's one, I never will give you the satisfaction of seeing me cry. So if you're going to beat me with how many canes or whatever, I'll stand like this. And it can be so frustrating to the person that is trying to break you. And I think that's what we all need to do as Nigerians. To get that, must not allow anybody
unbreakable
to break us. We must stand on. This country belongs to every one of us. We didn't come to this world to be slaves. God gave us a great country. And please, stop praying for Nigeria. God has given us everything to be a great nation. And God will not do for us what he has given us the capacity for us to do for ourselves. Absolutely. I say it again. Good must be more tenacious than evil. We don't plan on giving an inch at the table. What of you? Make it a date, same time next week. Till then, it's goodbye from all of us. Bye. Akila, say Anjuma. Say Watarana.